video. This video is how to use your darkest times and come out better, more compassionate, softer, leveled up, essentially. So I'll let you guys come into the room, but I just want to begin. I want to hop right into the video because this is piggybacking off of my last video about being in a relationship with someone who is considered a narcissist or has that personality. Hey Lev, hello, hola. You're the first one in the chat. So as you guys come in, I will just be going through my tips and the ways that I was able to level up after being in my darkest times, and sharing that wisdom and that knowledge with you as well, so that it doesn't become like a badge of honor or something that we wear and what we project to the world. Because yes, I'm in Thailand and it is 9:30, 9:20, 9:15 a.m. Monday. So we're 12 hours ahead of East Coast time. But welcome in, everyone. Hello. Make sure you like the video. This video is how to go through your darkest times and come out on the other side leveled up, but really more compassionate, more available for your blessings, and softer, more loving. Like that's what this really is about. For me, I've found over the years that this existence is about being more open and loving and accepting. So yes, let's get into this. If you haven't watched my last video, make sure you watch it after this one. The last one was, a relationship that was difficult for me. Hey, welcome in, everyone. A relationship that was difficult for me with someone who has NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. But this video, this was going to be kind of focused on that, but I will use it as a reference point. This is really about going through any of your darkest times and coming out better. So I have 6 core things that I want to get into. I don't want to make this so long, but I have some really beautiful nuggets to share. And so if you watched that video and it was supportive, then I hope this is all good. Okay, let's get into it. I have my notes here. This is from the last video. So the first thing, well, let me just kind of tell you a little bit of my background. Make sure you guys come in, like the video, bless the space. I'm so grateful that you're here. I'll tell you a little bit about my background. So a few of the quote unquote difficult things that I have experienced in my life. And I know now at this point that, at least it is how I feel, that we come into this existence as souls that chose essentially what we were going to experience in this life. So that includes the challenging and the beautiful. That includes the relationships, the platonic and romantic ones, our family, choosing all of these different aspects that are going to build our character and level us up in this existence. Because like I said, I really feel that this is about love and getting to a space of oneness within ourselves. So because of that, because I have that knowing and that understanding after my research and years of looking into what God is, who God is, and what we're doing here as humans. Have you ever had that experience? Like, okay, I'm in this body. What am I doing here? What is my purpose? Like, why are we here? It has to be more than this. And what sparked that for me was when my mother passed from cancer in 2012. So March 1st of 2012, we found out, she had a lot of symptoms, but we went to the doctor and we found out that she had stage 2 cancer, as they said. And a month later, literally on April 1st, 2012, she passed away from stage 4 cancer. So she was misdiagnosed, and that was 2012. If you know anything about 2012, there was so much about it being, the beginning of this new world, and, things changing completely in the atmosphere and for souls, different souls and spiritual beings. And that was like the beginning of my spiritual awakening 2012, when my biological mother passed. And another thing that was really challenging for me to deal with in my life was my mother also dealt with addiction, issues with addiction. And so I did not grow up with her as my primary parent. My primary caregiver was my grandmother, who is here. My angels are here with me, my little altar when I travel. I'm in Thailand. So my grandmother raised me, and my grandmother was a foster parent. She's an angel. So she, by the way, you all save your questions, like, of course, you know, chat, that's fine. But I want to answer your questions towards the end of the video, and maybe throughout. I'll take breaks. My grandma is a literal angel on this earth. She dedicated her life to, it's almost like Harriet Tubman, like steering young souls that have been experiencing so much trauma in their lives that they didn't, being human side, they didn't, you know, ask for. So she was a foster mom. And so I grew up in a home with foster sisters that were from completely different cultural backgrounds. So I had, you know, Caucasian and Hispanic and Ethiopian and even Chinese at one point, you know, foster sisters. So although she was my biological grandmother, she, you know, we had just this very untraditional kind of, you know, I had this very untraditional kind of upbringing. And so these things were very difficult for me to reconcile with, because I had this feeling that I was abandoned by my mother, and my other siblings, a lot of them stayed with my mom, and we're in the same city, right? So it's not like, you know, I'm adopted and I'm far away, or I don't know who my birth parents are. We would still have holidays all together, but I just had this feeling that, wow, I am not worthy and deserving of love from my mother because I'm not living with her. And I'll get into more of how I was able to transmute that energy. But I also did not grow up with a father. So all of these things, right? All of these things that happen in childhood. And, you know, there are more things like the difficult relationships that I was in, that last one. And yeah, I really just know that your pain can be turned into your medicine. So let's get into it. The first thing, listen to me. The first thing, before anything else, any healing work that you want to do, the first thing that is so essential is to be aware. To be aware of your weaknesses, your blind spots, your triggers, and the triggers that take over your critical thinking, that completely numb you to discernment. That is so essential, because otherwise you're just operating on autopilot. And so it's very, very easy to attract things to you because you're not aware of what's going on. Once you know, once you put words to it, put it on paper, like this is why I journal, and I've journaled for years, because once you are able to get into that shadow and see the areas where you can grow and where you can evolve, and like the lessons that you came here to learn, that's when you can start to do the work. So the foundation is awareness, knowing who you are as a imperfect being. Like, what are the areas where I can grow in this life, and where are the places where I can take responsibility for my reaction, because this is all about reactions. We experience these difficult things in life. No one gets out of that. We all experience this. We experience it. We need to be aware of it, because otherwise, if you watched my last video, then you know that I talked about this concept of spiritual amnesia, which is when you kind of go to sleep in this conscious reality, essentially, and you act out these different aspects of yourself and your trauma in order to bring them to the forefront and release them. That's what's happening. When you see people wilding out all over the place, they are literally like, you see all kinds of things in the media, different celebrities, whatever, people in your own personal life, you wonder, why are they acting like that, right? Or we even have these moments when we do it. That is because they're bringing up this energy that needs to be transmuted. They may be in amnesia, asleep, like I said, and not aware of it. And so it just can become this toxic and, toxic way to display this energy and to transmute it. Otherwise, it just keeps recirculating, like hormones. If they're in the body, they just keep recirculating if they're not detoxed properly. So for me, that was absolutely important. And different areas of weaknesses that we can have could be love, wanting to experience love because you didn't have it in childhood, or you didn't get it in a particular, environment, or really wanting stability. I know a lot of women who are in relationships with toxic partners just need stability. Wait, not just women. Let's talk about the fact that so many people are in relationships in general because they want to split bills, or they want someone next to them, or they want to distract themselves from their own personal work. And so sometimes we can stay in these relationships longer than their expiration date and their season because we need something, like this existence can be so difficult, especially when you're asleep and you're in amnesia, that just having someone next to you is just better. So, or can be better, can be seen as that. And so a lot of people are in relationships because of stability, because of financial security. That's a huge one. Belonging, wanting to have a family because their own family system was so effed up or, toxic and tumultuous. And that is a lot of that is out of scarcity, lack, and out of survival. So if we're operating in that space of survival, then that is our attraction point. That is what we're going to attract to us. And I don't talk about my drawings, but I drew a key here because the attraction point is the key. This is exactly how we give people the keys to unlock our sense, like our better sense, our two sense, right? The discernment, they unlock it and we just go to sleep because we're attracting from our deepest pain and the deepest, darkest experiences that we've had. So what I said in my last video is we meet people who are the perfect puzzle piece to our trauma. They literally fit in perfectly. And this is not just romantic relationships. This is, employers, jobs, friendships. That was a big one, that I experienced as well. It's attracting friendships from this place of lack and deficit. And what it meant is I was outsourcing. I was looking for X, Y, and Z, these people to fill this hole that I had within my own self instead of filling it myself. Amnesia, falling asleep. That's what this work is. And so number 2, the second thing that you can do to use your darkest times to level up is to know that we're here experiencing different lessons. Hello, everyone that's coming in. Blessings, blessings, blessings. I'm so happy you're here with me. We are experiencing lessons in this life, and the lessons are either to be learned or repeated. Regardless, you will learn, okay? Life is going to throw you things that are so tailor-made to you, so specific to what you need to heal and work through and grow through. And that's why I say, I know I played a part in choosing my existence before I incarnated here. Before I came through the womb, I know, because some of the things I've experienced, only I could have thought of them based on my family dynamic. Let me know in the chat, like this video, and let me know in the chat if you've had these experiences where you're like, these come to clarity moments where you're thinking, only I could have thought of this. Only I could have met this person or created meeting this person who was so specific to my traumas and my triggers to, make me animate in this specific way. So just know that these are lessons. You are here to learn these lessons. And if you don't learn it, then you continue to be faced with situations, people, places, things, environments that are going to help you learn it. Regardless of what you choose with your free will, you're going to continue to get these experiences. Comment and let me know if this resonates, if this is something that you have experienced in your life. But one thing that I talked about with being in a relationship with someone who is considered as a narcissist, which I don't like to throw around terms and labels, because then we all have a label and we all have done some things, okay? But for me, I knew that in that relationship, with all of the studying that I've done with the spiritual aspect of this experience, metaphysical teachings, and learning what this existence is about, studying God and spirituality, is that if we don't learn the lesson here, what I knew is that I would experience it with another partner or in another situation. And I want to just get it over with. I don't know if that's just my personality, but I knew that I did not want to be the girl and the woman who had these trauma stories, because they're stories, you all, they're stories. Even if it happened, like I always say this, excuses are excuses even if they're true. Excuses are excuses even if it's true. It's our responsibility. I knew it was my responsibility to transmute this energy, to heal it and to get through it. Not around it, right? Not bypassing, but to go through it. So I knew that I was going to experience this in another person, and that situation might be even more difficult because me being hard-headed. So yes, I didn't want to experience it in another relationship. I felt like, okay, I'm already here. Let me learn these lessons now with someone that I am comfortable with, someone that I called into my life. And I know it can be very difficult, like, to think that I don't want to say attracted, right? Because some of the things we experience can be so difficult, so destabilizing, that it can be hard to feel like we attracted this. And so I don't really want to use the word attraction, but based on our trigger points, based on the things we experienced, wanting to get through that, we have the choice to transmute that energy so we're no longer a match vibrationally to this kind of energy. So yes, they're lessons. Okay, number 3. This one is extremely important. The third thing that I did was staying in a state of cleanliness, which helps you to be aware of your triggers. It helps you to be aware of your shadow and the things that you're here to transmute. Staying in a state of cleanliness. In my last video, if you watched it, then you would have seen just how skinny I got during, at different points during this relationship, because I was fasting. And there is no coincidence that fasting is in the Bible and in a lot of religions. And when you think about, Ramadan and, different cultural practices, fasting is one of the best tools that you can use to not only clean yourself out physically, your gut, which controls so much, like our immune system and our nervous system is also located in the gut, but spiritually to purge these darker energies, or these, I don't even want to say dark, they're just, challenging energies that we have that are a part of us. And so what happened during all of the times that I fast is I learned to love and really see these deeper aspects of myself, see them as areas where I can just be softer and more gentle and not demonize myself and not feel like, okay, you experienced this in childhood, you experienced abandonment and neglect, these stories that we say, you experienced this because it is something about your value and who you are. And knowing, no, that is not why. It has nothing to do with who I am. I am divine. I am love. Okay? I am a piece of God. So if I am all of those things, then these experiences didn't happen to me because I'm a bad person or because I'm deserving of them. They happened to teach me a lesson and to round out this story. It's like character building. So fasting, I cannot stress it enough, you all. It is not about undernourishing yourself, but it is about getting to a place of clarity. And what it did is it taught me discernment. It taught me how to fast from something, how to go without something that I really thought I needed to survive. And this could be marijuana for you. This could be alcohol. This could be particular relationships. This could be, social media, whatever it is for you. And for me, fasting let me know, like, if I can do this, if I can go extended periods of time without these things that I've loved so much, this food, then I can do anything. It really strengthens you spiritually, and it puts you in this space of total power. You have control of what's going on. So I cannot stress fasting enough. It really connects you to your spirit. It connects you to whatever your God is, whoever you call to God, whatever you believe. It connects you with something much deeper than just this human, paying bills, like all these roles, paying bills to live and eating this food to live and going to work to live, whatever. It gets you out of that, and it lets you zoom out and see the bigger picture of this reality and this existence. Because if you're anything like me, you know that there's so much more to this. We can't take these material things and possessions with us, okay? But your spirit, your heart, and the way you're able to have compassion and move in this world and embracing your power, that's something different, okay? That is something different. So cleanliness and fasting also helped me with boundaries and discernment, because when you are so backed up in your gut, in your colon, let me tell you, that is the second brain. So this is also your source of power. If you know, or if you feel like you resonate with chakras and your solar plexus, this is your place of power. And if it's filled with gunk and junk, and I talk about this with reproductive health and womb healing, if it's filled with toxins and waste, you're not gonna have clarity. That is the mind right here. So you will not have clarity. You will not be able to make sound decisions. And this is why, being obese or having a lot of fat and weight on you, it's just toxins stored in the fat. That's what happens. Toxins and waste get stored in fat. And so having that weight on you, just having, even spiritual weight on you, energetic weight of the trauma and the grief and these things, put you in a space of numbness, to where you're numb to everything that's going on, and you're easier to be manipulated and controlled by whatever society or people in your life, especially romantic relationships. Because one thing about love is it will knock your ass out and put you to sleep. It will have you acting in ways that you never thought, just off the strength of love and the power and the strength of that. So if there's anything in your life that you do habitually, something you feel you cannot live without, I encourage you to see if you can fast for it. Start with like a day. I'm not gonna go on Instagram for a day, especially if it's a toxic relationship that you have with it. I'm not going to rely on cannabis for a week, whatever it is. See if you can strengthen yourself and see what happens, what comes from that. Journal and see what comes from that, because transformation it's magical, and it comes from this kind of work. Another thing that helped me with cleanliness is praying, meditation, divination, any of your spiritual practices, things that you may have shied away from, get back on it, because this strengthens your resolve. One thing I say is, because I wasn't always as clean as I wanted to be, because I knew I had the awareness piece from tip number 1, I knew I had these deeper parts of myself that were running the show, that were taking over and acting in certain ways. I knew that I could not rely on myself alone. So I prayed. You pray to whoever, you want to pray to, but because my mother and my grandmother are my angels now on the other side, they transitioned. I prayed to them. I prayed to my ancestors. I prayed to my highest self, to God. I pray, and I'm just like, give me the strength. Give me the clarity. Give me the discernment, because you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to rely just on yourself. So another thing that I did, which is a tool that I've used, they're called transmissions, and it's a different type of meditation. There is a channel called Steve Nobel. There are so many people that do this, but I trust Steve Nobel because I invested in myself during this time when I was in Jamaica and in this relationship. And I joined a school, and it is called New Earth Mystery School. Some of you may have seen Miriam Hasnea, her work, and the transformative words and poetry essentially that she puts out into the world. And she has a school for neurodivergent, highly sensitive, spiritual beings, essentially. And I joined that school, and I watched all of the videos, all of the ways that the different teachers that came on talked about the energy that we experience and how to transmute some of it, and the deeper, darker things that we experience in this life, why, and just kind of organizing the energy and figuring out what we're doing here. And one of the teachers was Steve Nobel, another one was Cindy Dale, and they get into the energetics of it all, protecting yourself spiritually and energetically from, people who are sending you negative energy and attacks, and even just bad mind, bad thoughts, envy, jealousy, people who are sending this energy to you, and when you are animating it yourself, so when it's coming out from you. Transmissions help a lot with that. So it's literally just listening to a transmission or a meditation and really getting into that zone and letting this energy be cleared from you, from someone else. It's extremely, extremely impactful. The channel is Steve Nobel. If you're ready for this deep transformational work, then look into his channel. I still do these things every single day. It's a part of my practice every single day, because it's so impactful. Another thing that I used was nature. So I was in Jamaica, and now I'm in Thailand, and I'm always in these environments where I am not far from the sea. I don't play about that. I am not far from Mami Wata. Like, I know how impactful using nature is. It is a tool here for us, you all. So like going out, even if you can just get to a park, being around trees, being in the sun. We have, melanin for a reason, getting charged up by the sun, and using these different tools to their energies, like spirits, using them to transmute these energies. And so I am never far from the beach. If I am, when I was in India the past 6 months, it was killing me. It was killing me. And so, yes, nature, using herbs. Herbs are also, there's a spirit to herbs. There's an energy. And that's why I got into medicine, plant medicine, because I knew there was a deeper calling and a way to use it and help you all heal. And stay tuned, because there may or may not be restocks of hormone balance and dog blood and purple gold sea moss, castor oil, all of the things soon. So stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to my email list, it'll be in the description box. And yes, like I said, the reason why I didn't fully rely on myself and I used all of these different tools is because something like 70 to 90% of our daily habits and actions. Oh my gosh, there's a monk right there wearing the same colors that I am. Blessings. Wow. The reason why I didn't just rely on myself is because we're controlled by our subconscious, and your subconscious is programmed at a very young age. So like the age is up to 7 years old and probably more. So all of the things we've experienced in our childhood and, the society and what your parents say and do, their energy is in you, in your subconscious mind. So you can't really trust your own your like default responses to things in the way that we show up in the world. Okay. And oh, also the parasites. I forgot to say this. The parasites in your gut, the parasites just running the place. What parasites do is they take over processes in your body and they hook on to your nervous system and different nerves. So it's your signals from your brain and throughout your body are not consistent with, you know, what should be happening and what your body wants to do, the functionality. And so these parasites go in there and they will make you feel like you're craving certain foods. They're so tricky. They're also energetic parasites, but they make you feel like you are craving certain foods or certain relationships. And so that's why it's so important to fast and to just do detoxes, because you need to clear out these energies. And so parasites, think about that, you all. You can cleanse your gut, you can cleanse your liver, you can do castor oil packs, you can get colonoscopies, just getting the waste out. Like, that's the name of the game. That's the foundation, detox. Hello, you all coming in. Make sure you like the video. Thank you for being here with me. Share the video if you think someone else would find this useful. Okay, so the fourth thing that I knew I needed to understand, or that now looking back, I understand, is that, and this is the hardest, this was the hardest, your shadow, your traumas need to animate themselves. I touched on this a little bit, but they need to get out. So it's not necessarily you, it's your trauma. It's the guilt you still carry, it's the grief, the anger, the sadness, the envy, the addiction, all of these things that we try to hide from ourselves and hide from the world. But just so you know, everyone knows. When you are operating in a space of, let's just say, envy or jealousy in a friendship or in a relationship, it is an energy, it's a frequency that we know, everyone knows. And it's not you, that's not who you are. That is, you know, your knee-jerk responses and the ways that you're trying to animate your shadow. And so that's why you see a lot of energy about people saying, like, go into your jealousy, the areas where you're jealous and you're envious of other people, because those are the places that you want to be better in. Those are the places that you have the potential to grow and to level up in. And so not demonizing these different traits and qualities that we have, because it's literally feedback. Like, this is where I want to grow. Okay, bet. I'm not going to say it's because this person is bad and I want their life. No, it's because you know you have the potential to have that as well. So that was the hardest part for me, is realizing that I'm animating in a particular way. I am acting out my shadow unknowingly sometimes. And it's just hard to kind of wrap your mind around, to think that you're bringing these things onto yourself, or you're acting out in ways that you know people in your life would not approve. Like, when I look at it, some of the things I would, be praying to my ancestors. Will this be on replay? Tiara, yes, I will save this video. I will save it, so don't even worry. I knew that some of the ways that I was behaving and acting, sometimes out of integrity, I knew I wasn't raised like that. My grandma didn't raise me in that way. So just knowing that we're acting out these parts of ourselves to be healed and transmuted. When I talk about spiritual amnesia, it's these areas and these moments that we can overcome, right? Like, we go to sleep. If you don't remember, if you didn't watch my last video, you go to sleep and you animate, because being conscious and like acting in some of these ways, or accepting some, abuse or toxic situations, being conscious in doing it, it would be like a misalignment. You would look and think, why am I behaving in this way? So yes, Ellie, I'm going to get into how to release the trauma. I already touched on it a little bit, right? The prayer, the meditation, the transmissions, being in nature, herbs. and fasting. These are all tools that I used, but I'll get into some more. Let's see. Oh, another thing. If you are familiar with karma and working on bloodline, clearing out karma from your bloodline, what does that mean? So if you're not familiar with this, we come into this existence with our family. That is not a choice once we get here. And they say there are things that your parents did, your grandparents did in their lifetime that were created karma in their life. That creates karma for the whole bloodline, everybody. That's why when you see people saying that diseases are passed down, those are bad habits and choices that are actually passed down, but that's in the bloodline. Trauma is literally in the DNA and in the cells, and that gets passed down. For example, you might have someone in your life who experienced, maybe a parent who experienced something really toxic and really traumatic, right? And you know in your conscious mind, I will never be like that. And then people end up being just like the parent or the person in their life that they said they would not be like. That's because it is in us, and that karma has to be transmuted. And I know for me, it ended with me. It ended with me. There are sacrifices that my mom made, my Nana made in their lifetime in order for me to live this life and for me to wrap it up, tie up the loose ends, because I am not letting this go on for my children, right? This is, to me, the way I think about it is this is legacy. This is what I'm passing on. Not cars, okay, not trust funds, all of that will be there, but integrity, spiritual discernment, divinity, love, acceptance, compassion, wisdom, guidance, connection to God. So to me, that's the most impactful. And so if you're experiencing tough things in your life and you can't understand why, maybe you are here to transmute the energy from your karma, or from the karma in your bloodline. Maybe look into that further. Look into karma and look into ancestral healing. Look into that. That's what I've done. I've had to call on my mom and my Nana and all of my ancestors and just say, listen, enough is enough. You talk to them like that. Enough is enough. I mean, you all, I can't even express to you some of the challenges and the tumultuous things I've experienced in my life, things that most people would completely fold from. And here I am. Here I am. Generational traumas, generational curses, you can call them, and rewriting the story. And I used my ancestors to rewrite the story. I'm like, y'all are going to help me. Y'all did all of whatever y'all did in your life. You're going to help me. Okay, you're going to help me transmute this energy, because I didn't come here to be a slave to what y'all did and my, deeper, the traumas. I didn't come here to be a slave to that. Absolutely not. I already got out of the system. Listen to me. I made a video years ago when I was in Jamaica, and I said, leaving the game. And I talked about this idea that when you look around, there are so many people that just seem like they're sleeping. And this, was triggered from my mother passing in 2012. I would have these very vivid, I still remember, I can feel it in my body, where I would wake up next to my boyfriend at the time. Hey, Eric, if you're watching. I would wake up and gasping for air out of my sleep. And what was on my mind when I would wake up was, wow, we're mortal. This physical body is mortal. Like, we are going to transition. We don't live forever in these bodies. And I would wake up and just panic and fear from that. Like, literally, like, it's like I was being born again every time. And that was the beginning of my spiritual awakening. And I woke, like, it took a while, like, trying to reconcile with this existence and what the hell we're doing here. What are we doing here? Why did I experience all of these challenging things? And just, like getting into that space where, sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Okay, maybe I didn't fully need to go into that, but what was I saying? I was in it. Okay, I was so in the energy. realizing that we are in this game essentially, right? Like looking around and seeing there's so much more to this existence than this. I was like, okay, so I'm supposed to get the degree, get the husband, have the kids, get the job, acquire all of these material possessions and things, and that's it. Yoo-hoo, retire. Yes, go on some vacations, that's it. I knew there was something off. I knew it was a game. I knew it was a trick because I see people around me. I can learn from this example. I'm looking at people around me who have all of the things. They have all of the things they say are going to make us happy. They have all of the things that say are going to make us feel fulfilled and loved in life. And they're not happy. In fact, they're still striving for more. So they got the things, but why do they want more? Why do they want more cars? It didn't make sense to me. Things were not adding up. And that's when I realized, okay, there's something deeper. There's something deeper. The calling is deeper. There's something, and maybe this is not for everyone. We all have our different callings in life and our purpose and paths in life. So maybe it's not for everyone, but I knew there was something more for me. I knew I came here for something greater. If that's you, know it and feel it. If you know it and it's a whisper, I hope this activates you. If you know there's something greater, act on that. So, yes, the karma. And one example of that is I wrote, for example, if you're the first in your life, in your family, to be financially free, you're going to experience what lack and scarcity is. If you're the first to transmute these energies and rewrite your bloodline and the DNA, you're going to experience being poor, not having enough to eat, not always having a roof over your head. And these are not reflections of who you are as a person. These are ways that you can level up. We have the same capacity for the darkest things we've experienced in our life. We have that same capacity. This is the law of polarity. For you are financially free. You are. Why are humans like this? You are financially free. Speak it. We have the same capacity for darkness as we do for good. I'll get into that in the next point. Okay, so the fifth thing. You're welcome. The fifth thing, you hear everyone talk about manifesting financial freedom, for example, manifesting a loving relationship and a partner. How about you manifest your healing? Have you ever thought about that? Hold on, wait. Hold on, I have chills. How about you manifest your healing? Yes. You can manifest your healing. You can go into your meditation. You can do your shadow work, whatever you choose to do, and manifest your healing. What does that look like? There's something called EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. Some of you may have heard of it. It's the tapping on acupressure points, these specific points that help us to reprogram a story that we're telling ourselves, or to program in the ways that we want to experience life and how we want to level up and be new and get on another timeline. So using EFT to tap, it's just one tool. And I learned this from Miriam Hasnea in New Earth Mystery School. And I want to say, if you're experiencing difficult times, invest in yourself. So I joined some people's Patreons who I trusted, and this school, really investing in books, reading and learning. So I just want to give you that. But there's something called EFT. It's amazing for reprogramming your subconscious mind, the areas where we are acting out on triggers and we can't necessarily control that consciously. EFT, there's something also that I've done called EMDR therapy, and that's using lights and talk therapy as well to reprogram some of the memories that we had from childhood. Because I'm not sure if you're aware of this or if you've seen this, but some of the memories we have and the things we've experienced, especially if you had a very toxic and tumultuous childhood, challenging, I'll say, some of the memories are fragmented. They're not the full story. I'll give you an example. One story that I was telling myself, a memory that I had, is that my mom didn't love me because she didn't get me out of foster care, out of my grandma's care. So my grandma became my legal guardian. And it was such a, I just couldn't wrap my mind around it as a child. Like, why are you not getting me? Why are my siblings there? Why do you not love me? That was a story that I was telling myself. This is something that was playing on repeat. And I attracted, sorry, my baby brother was calling me. I hope the live is still going. Is it? Okay, I think it's back on. My baby brother was calling me. Ah, Joanne, don't call me again. Okay, so I was feeling completely unloved, neglected, abandoned, and like I was not deserving of. Are you guys still here with me? Are you still here with me? My little brother called me. My little brother FaceTimed me. Yes, that's what I said, Red. I experienced EMDR therapy myself. That's why I can talk to you about it. Okay, we're here. Hey, Ellie. Hey, Nicole. Tell me where you guys are watching from. Let's take a brief little intermission just quickly. Yes, Red, I've done EMDR therapy. My therapist was in Seattle. That's where I'm from, in case you guys didn't know. I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington, in the United States. And my cousin actually, hey, Arizona, my cousin put me on to EMDR therapy. And I love her for that. Cali, Ohio, Ellie, Aaron, love. Where the rest of you all, it looks like we have 36 people in the chat. Yes, I'm back. Where are you from? It's not spinning anymore, good. Where are you from? If you didn't say already, where y'all from? Where y'all from? Make sure you like the video. Ohio, okay. EMDR therapy, yes, the Caribbean. Y'all, you're also from Cleveland, Red. Okay, beautiful. Memphis, Tennessee, Colorado, Jamaican born and bred. Hey, Alec, blessings. Thank you so much for the super chat. I love that. Thank you. I appreciate that energy. Yes, so EMDR therapy was extremely important for me. It was like the beginning. As I said in my last video about being in a relationship with someone who is considered a narcissist, when I was in therapy, my therapists were like, you don't need to be here. Because I'm going in there and I'm breaking it down. Like, it's like I was going in with my notes, my field notes. Hey, Jamaicans. I'll be back in Jamaica very, very soon. I was going into therapy knowing it all. I was like, this is what happened and this is why. And I know why they did this because of this. And I can put myself in their shoes. And my therapist was like, you don't need to be here, Takeyah. But I knew that there were areas in my life that I still needed to work on. So EMDR therapy is supportive. Find a good practitioner. Don't just go to anybody. If you're in Seattle, reach out to me. Blessings. If you're in Seattle, reach out to me and I can refer the lady that I went to. I co-parent with a narcissist. I gotta go to trial with that fool soon. Yeah, I wanna talk more about that. When I get into the last tip, then I hope it's supportive for you. EMDR therapy, okay, let's get back to it. So the tools that I used, EFT, and this is something you could start to do immediately. Sometimes I'll be out in public and if I experience like a situation that is a little destabilizing, and it could be anything. I'm very aware, sensitive to energies, so it could be anything. I'm not triggered by them, but something can, come up, an energy can come up. I will start to tap on different areas. So look into EFT. This is something you can do very quickly and easily. It's a beautiful tool. Yoga. Some people think yoga is demonic. Okay, let's get into this. Some people think numerology, yoga, all of these tools, ancient tools that predate the Bible. Okay? Some people think these practices that we have been using as spiritual beings coming from our native lands, some people think that these things are demonic. They're tools, y'all. That is a program within itself, a brainwashing within itself, so that you do not heal. Use these tools. Why not? How could it be demonic to heal? Anyways, to answer your question, my sun sign is Cancer. My moon sign is Sagittarius. My rising sign is Aquarius. Yes, I love yoga and Pilates. Me too. My north node is Sagittarius. My midheaven is Sagittarius. No wonder I've been traveling the world and, learning and teaching for all these years. Red said she immediately starts taking deep, slow breaths to be present when those uncertain times arise. Yes, that's very helpful. And some people also need the somatic movement and work and the screaming and the raging. Some people need that as well. That's also divine. That's also healing. Yes, no, you don't just have one sign. You have a whole astrological, natal chart. And there's so many aspects to our personalities. I have Virgo in some placements. My Venus is Taurus. There's so many. So look up with your birth time, you can look up your astrology. Another tool that I used is astrology. Looking at this map and this blueprint, it doesn't say who I am as a person. It just gives me, and it's spot on. Like, I don't know if you guys have looked into your astrology, but it is spot on. So I use it as a tool, and I follow astrology. Look on your birth certificate, or if you can, there's other ways to do it as well, just knowing your birth date. Looking to different astrologers, and there's something called human design, and this uses a few modalities and teachings, but human design woke me up to a lot. My human design type, as they say, is, I think it's less than 1% or less than 4% of the population has my type, which is reflector. And I know this is true because reflectors are so susceptible and open to energy. It's like all of your energy channels are open. So you can take in a lot of energy, and you can also be so many different things. So we're like chameleons. But human design was also very helpful. Prayer, meditation, like I said. And there's something called mirror work. So you can sit in front of the mirror. I always have a mirror around me on my altar or wherever, but you can sit in front of the mirror, do your meditation. And there's like a three-step process that I use, what I was using. I will edit this video for you and post it. But I filmed this when I was in Jamaica. The first thing that I did was yoga. So yoga opens you up. It opens up these energy channels. And because trauma and energies are stored in the body, especially doing something like a yin yoga, getting deep into these areas of the body opens you up. So once I opened in a yoga practice, say like a 30-minute yin yoga practice, then I would do breath work, yoga, then breath work. There's a 17-minute breathwork practice by Brie Melanson, and it is absolutely transformational. The thing about the breath is it's our prana, our pranic energy, our life force. You cannot live very long without oxygen. So the thing about that is that's energy running throughout our entire body. Our cells, our veins, our nerves, everything, every organ, every tissue and cell needs oxygen. So there are people that have very shallow breaths. If you are not breathing consciously, you breathe every day, it just happens. But being conscious and aware of your breathing transforms. That was the deepest healing that I did in Jamaica. The deepest healing that I did was my breathwork practice. So I will link, once the video goes live, I will link the practice that I use still by Brie Melanson. It's only 17 minutes. And when I tell you it gets into your nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system, absolutely transformational. So yoga, opening up these channels, breath work, clearing and activating these channels, and then meditation. If you don't feel like you can meditate, do this sequence. And I have chills because it works. Like, this is the way I was able to transmute so many of those energies. And the thing about me is, my personal little blueprint that I chose coming into this life was to do a lot of this work in solitude. Now I have shifted into community and loving partnerships and relationships, friendships, romantic. But I'm 31 years old. Most of my life has been doing this work in solitude. And as I said in my last video, there's work that has to be done in solitude, spiritual work, and there's work that absolutely has to be done in community, in relationships with other people. So I've experienced a lot of these deep, dark, traumatic things alone. Even though I have, some friends and family members, I have been traveling the world. And so because I was out of my native environment, I was alone in a lot of these moments. And I knew, like, listen, I didn't come here to just leave the earth at this time. I knew I was going to get through these darker situations. And if you're a member on my channel here, make sure if you would like, you can join the membership here. I posted a video about when the old you dies and what is happening when we're transmuting these heavier energies, things that you are unthinkable that you experience, and this darkness, how to get through it on the other side. I posted that video. So if you're interested, you can join the membership. But yes, yeah, let's get back to it. So, and if you guys have any more questions, leave them. I can start to answer some questions. I just have a couple of more points. Ooh, we're almost at the hour mark. Thank you also for being here. Like the video if you are enjoying the conversation. And if you're here and present, please share your energy by liking and sharing this if you feel so inclined. Okay, so we got into the shadow animation and we got into manifesting your healing. So let's just wrap up that point. You cannot take the cars, the clothes, you cannot take the achievements, the degrees, the corporate jobs, the titles, the identities, these badges of honors, these hats we wear. You cannot take that with you. You are a spirit, an energy having this human experience. You cannot take those things with you. What you can take with you is the oneness, being one with God, the completeness to your energy and your soul. That transforms, right? That translates and transitions on. And so thinking about, yes, manifest the things, the physical things in your life. Why not? But when you are trying to heal, manifest your healing. All of the law of attraction that you do, the meditation, the Nikola Tesla, the Dolores Cannon, all of the different practices that you're using, the scripting, the journaling, whatever you're doing, the mantras, the affirmations, do it for your healing. Do it for your healing. What does that look like? Say you are scripting and talking about, instead of talking about the things you want to acquire in this life, script, which is journaling, in present tense, talk about how loving you are now, how compassionate you are now, how forgiving you are now, right? How easy it is for you to receive love and to give love and to share your light with the world. That's what I'm talking about. Manifest your healing. Manifest your healing, okay? Manifest it. Sit and do your manifestations, but focus on your healing. All right. So number 5. No, that was number 5, manifest your healing. Number 6, this is the final point. This might be triggering and a little bit hard to hear. And I don't want you to feel that like I said in the last video, this is a disclaimer. I do not tolerate abuse. I do not tolerate abuse, and I am not available for it either. And when I see it around me, I'm a warrior, if you haven't gathered that by now. if I see it around me, best believe I am standing up for the women that are experiencing this, the people, and standing up for them, right? Like there have been so many women that have come online that have platforms that talk about some of the abuse that they've experienced, especially by hot figures in the spiritual world who have taken advantage of people in specific ways. I don't want to get into that too much, but I have been right there like, how can I support you, sis? What do you need? Because I've experienced this myself, and I know what it means to feel helpless and to feel like someone is violating you in whatever way. I know what that feels like. So I have no tolerance for that. I have zero tolerance for that kind of energy. But the final thing that I want to say is not demonizing people. And this includes, people who have wronged you, not demonizing them. Why? Because when you judge other people, you are completely blinding yourself to the ways where you also have been toxic. This is not victim blaming, right? But think about this. Think about the fact that none of us are perfect. I don't mean tolerate behavior. I don't mean use this to justify someone's behavior towards you. I do not mean that. Like I said, I have no tolerance for it. But in what areas of your life, if you're open to this activation, this is a code, this is a download. In what areas of your life have you been the negative one? Have you been abusive? Whether that's mentally abusive, whether that's being manipulative, even if it's something small. In what areas of your life have you also done that? Even if it's a smaller degree, like I said. So one thing, growing up Christian and with my specific family, with my specific family that I chose, I grew up seeing Christians who would go to church, would put on this mask, this veil, and catch the Holy Spirit and talk about being benevolent and talk about the Word of God. But in their day-to-day life, there was a disconnect. There was complete judgment, nastiness, talking bad about other family members, and acting in ways that were not godly, that were not aligned with spirit, were not benevolent, as people say. And so that's what disconnected me first to religion and Christianity. But God is not synonymous with religion, by the way. Those are people, humans, acting in whatever ways. But because that was my family, this is what I grew up seeing. And I thought, there's something so odd about this. And so what I learned very on is that judging other people when you yourself have these qualities is completely, it's just so backwards, right? So that's the last code. Do not demonize other people and judge them, because the law of polarity, we all have capacity for darkness. Like I said in the last video, am not naive to think that I have not been toxic to people in my life, that I have not been a source of contention and contrast and difficulty for other people. When you show up in your full self in this life and you are animating your shadow, you're gonna hurt people. You're going to hurt people, hurt people, hurt people. So there are ways that I have absolutely not acted in integrity, especially in that last relationship. And there are ways that I have been extremely hurtful and harmful to other people. And I don't mean this in a way where I was quote unquote narcissistic, but in my own way, right? And so demonizing someone else means I'm demonizing myself. And the way that I was able to transmute the energy to forgive people in my life that I felt have wronged me is because I have wronged people. I have wronged people as well. I'm not benevolent. I'm not holier than thou. I'm not above anyone. That is how I was able to come back into the completion and to oneness and into love. Like, when I tell you I do not have any negative relationships with anyone I was ever in a relationship with. I don't burn bridges. Some bridges need to be burned. but it is not my personal, and I guess it's because I have been discerning enough in relationships to where I haven't invited in people that I needed to completely, run away from, essentially, if that's clear. So the people, I've been discerning enough in my life that I knew, okay, I chose these people to have these relationships with these people. It was my choice, by the way. It was my choice to stay. It was my choice to continue. It was my choice to go back. It was my choice. I had the choice. Even if there were times when maybe there were lies being told to keep you in a relationship, or manipulation, whatever the things we say, it was a choice. How do I know? Because there was no gun to my head. And I know toxic people like to say that, but I was not forced to do any of these things. And if you are forced in any way in your life, then that's a different story, but that's not what I'm talking about. So, yes, I am not, again, so feeling that I have done all right in this world to where I cannot understand and understand where someone else is coming from. I was able to look into the eyes of my last partner in moments when I felt like, I'm being put in a compromising position, whatever it may be. And I was able to look and see wounding. I was able to look into their eyes and see, I called it in the last video, like looking into the eyes of the demon. And I do not consider him a demon, by the way, but just using it, as an analogy, and seeing a wounded child. Because when you look at narcissistic personality disorder, they are fully animating this reality. So they're fully in it. And we're all fully in it, by the way. That's what this amnesia is. We're no different. It may be a different level and a different degree. Maybe you're not physically or verbally abusing someone. Maybe you're not gaslighting, etc., etc. But to our different degrees, we are also living in our own world with our own traumas and acting out from those places. So we are also doing things harmful to other people. I was able to look into his eyes and see, wow, I don't know what you experienced to make you act in these ways, but I have compassion. Not in the moment, by the way. This was not in the moment, and I am not benevolent to say that like, oh, I didn't rage and I didn't blast this person on Front Street or say, you did this. I had those moments. I had to animate, I had to grieve, and the entire time during the relationship, I was grieving. But when you come out of it, and the way that I was able to heal and really heal, truly heal, and not be bitter and not be stuck in a loop of blaming everybody else, was realizing that I have also not been the best at different times in my life. So one thing that I've seen with what everyone is saying online about narcissism, or even just narcissistic parents and toxic, we'll say, people in our lives, is, saying that they victimized us or that we are a victim. And to me, this is my personal experience, that is so disempowering for me personally. I never wanted to feel like I don't have a say in what I'm doing in this life and how I'm operating. So I never felt like I was a victim. There are situations where I was like, damn, I didn't deserve that, 100%. But I never felt like this is happening to me because of who I am as a person. I had to completely transmute that energy. And I did that with, my mother wound, and my nana wound, and these different harder things that I experienced. So, what I want to say about this, victimizing yourself or staying in that energetic frequency of victimization or feeling like people are doing things to us, it keeps you linked to the very same energy that you are trying to heal from. It keeps you in an energetic vibration of this energy. So what does that mean? You leave a relationship that was toxic and tumultuous. And all you can do is talk about how toxic and tumultuous it was. You're in that vibrational frequency with it. What does that mean? That means although you feel like this is healing you, and we do this, right? We do this at times, that's fine. But staying in that state for a prolonged period of time means that you're not moving forward. And you're staying in that space. You're giving it control over you. These are outward things that are able to control who you are and how you're operating in this world. And it also means that even though you think you're healing and you're healed, you're going to attract from that place. Listen to me strongly. This is why I didn't leave the relationship, because I was like, okay, once I leave this, it's going to come back much fiercer. I don't want to deal with this in another man. In a friendship. I'm done with it. I got so fed up with my own trauma. I got literally, this is how I talk sometimes to myself, like, or ancestors or whatever. I get so fed up. I'm like, I'm done with this. When you get to that point where it's no longer comfortable to act in that way, when you're aware, when you see that we're kind of attracting some of this shit. Sorry. I got so fed up. And I used the relationship to transmute that energy. I no longer wanted to be in a space of wounding, having these, and I'm always like touching this area because this is our power. This is our core. I never wanted to have these deep, dark holes, essentially, in my being and in my spirit, these fragmented aspects of myself. I didn't want to have them anymore and attract from that place outside of this relationship. Because one thing I said is I'm not the type to share my energy with men sexually, romantically, and intimately. I'm not doing that with a lot of people. It is a way that I know that you can get spiritual attacks, and you can completely be derailed from your purpose in your life. And you can get these womb diseases, the bacteria vaginosis, the yeast infections. And this comes from staying in a relationship past its season. Your body will literally start to tell on you, okay? People are experiencing like autoimmune diseases from being in relationships, and from men that are a mismatch to our energy and our vibrational frequency as women. People are experiencing certain diseases, herpes, all of these things, you guys, and they have a spiritual and energetic source and root. I don't know if any of you have watched The Hood Healer, Imani Cohen, but she started a spiritual diagnosis kind of series and infographics on her page. And one thing about her is she's gonna give it to you raw, right? So being in alignment and staying in this vibrational frequency because you don't want to move forward is going to give you some of these diseases, period. I've seen when I've done my client work and I've worked with people and talked to so many women, they don't understand why they're experiencing this. They're eating the right foods. They are making sure their pH is balanced, et cetera, et cetera. But if you are keeping someone in your cipher, in your energy, in your frequency, that is lowering your vibration based on the energies that you have not transmuted, you're going to experience, your body's going to give you symptoms. Your body is going to shout. Your body is going to have these womb diseases and these womb growths. And that's why, you know, I've taken a break from the herbs, aside from the fact that I've been traveling, but I've taken away from these tools because sometimes we can use them as crutches. Sometimes we can use it to distract us from what's really going on. Sometimes it's the partner in your life. Sometimes it's the grief. Sometimes it's the relationship with your mom, right? Sometimes it is the envy that you hold and carry within yourself that you're projecting into the world. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes it's you. So one thing I wrote down, blaming other people and the circumstances that we're in means only those things and those people can heal you because you gave them your power. You outsourced your power in this way. So when I'm blaming and I'm saying, you did this, there's no power in that for me. What can I do with that? When you blame other people, what can you do with that energy? There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do with that. It is a very disempowering place. Yes, people violate us. Yes, people will get their karma, but you don't have to give it to them. That keeps you in that energy. What you do, what you reap, you sow. And that's another thing that I understood with all of my studies in this spiritual existence is when you throw your stone, that stone comes back. And especially if you know what you're doing, it comes back tenfold. So one thing that I never, ever, ever did is do something so harmful back to these people, whoever I felt, my mother, whatever, that I could not clear that karma. So, and that comes from practice. That's not something that may not come naturally to us, especially if we're experiencing violation or abuse, whatever. I did the work and I got to a place where I knew that if I retaliated in a specific way, there are ways to voice your opinion and to put people on Front Street. But if I knew if I did it in a specific way to harm someone, if my intention was to harm someone the way I felt I was harmed, I knew I was going to get that back and I was going to stay in that energy. It's just a loop. And when I talk about the lessons, that's a lesson. So I said, okay, this is a game. Once I came out of the amnesia, I said, this is a game. I've experienced these hard things, but if I throw the stone back, I'm going to just get back on the merry-go-round and continue animating this. I don't want to do this anymore. It gets so boring at a specific time. Seeing the same lesson over and over and over and over again. It's like, when do you learn? When do you learn, Takeyah? Or whoever, I'll say your name. When do you learn? When do you get past that stage? So one thing about karma and one thing about moving from a space of love is that your quote unquote enemies will be handled. You are going to get justice off the strength that you are operating out of love and out of cleanliness. So a huge part of being able to walk away clean like that is not staying past your expiration date in the season of the relationship, because you can get very resentful if you stay. If you learn the lesson, you see the lesson 1,000,000 times and you stay and you keep going back into it, whatever it is, it could be your job, whatever it is, you're going to get resentful and it is going to make you act in ways that are out of character, are out of love. So the way that I'm able to be close friends with, someone I've been in a relationship with, or to have a normal conversation with them, is because I know that they have reaped their karma. You mishandle me, someone who is walking away cleanly and doing their best to just transmute these energies, you violate me, you're getting your karma, period. And I watched it in the relationship. I watched them get licked in different ways. And it would be directly after a blow up that maybe that them and I had. And I would say, oh, I'm protected. I pray. I invoke my spirit team, my higher self and God. I pray not for harm on them. I pray that I heal. I pray that I heal and I come out better, stronger, wiser, with more compassion and love. And so when you're doing that, I'm not saying send them love. I'm not saying be all love and light and pretend like you're Buddha. I'm saying heal yourself. I'm saying learn to be a better person within yourself so you don't vibrate on that level anymore. When you do that, when you come from this cleanly place, this space of love and compassion, they get their karma tenfold. You don't have to do anything. So I see all of these videos about how to make the narcissist in your life go crazy and how to give them a piece of their own medicine. I don't want to give nobody that medicine because it's coming from me. That means it literally has to come within my being to give that to somebody. That's waste. That's toxic. I don't want that. Keep that. I don't want any part of that. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to be so vibrationally different, on such a vibrationally different level, operating out of love and just wanting to manifest my healing, that all of your shenanigans, all of the lessons you want to teach me, they no longer resonate with me. So yes, that's it. That's really all I wanted to say. As I said, I don't have any negative relationships with anyone that I was in a relationship with. In fact, I'm very close with one person I was in a relationship, like my first, the relationship that I grew up in, essentially. I'm extremely close with him, and it doesn't necessarily translate the same in friendships, like female friendships, because as women, I just want to be very honest, the 34 of you who are in here, as women, we can be so extremely wrapped up in our trauma and so in amnesia and asleep to what we are projecting to the world that it can be so difficult to be in relationships. But it is not the full story. And I'm so grateful to have cleared the trauma from my childhood with my mom and with the females in my life, the women in my life, my caregivers, because I had toxic relationships with them, and because I saw them as the source of so much of the difficulty that I faced in this life, I was not able to have clean relationships with women. Even if I thought I was like going in with the best intentions, I just was not able to be comfortable and feel safe and carried in these relationships. And I am so grateful to have healed that. I have such beautiful, especially in my travels, I have connected with the most beautiful aligned women and I never thought it was possible. And I still see the women that will come into my life and who may be envious, or this is just normal, I think, in female relationships, unfortunately. Girls are pitted against each other at such a young age that we kind of carry this energy within us. But I am just so grateful to be in a place where I accept my soul tribe and the women, like, we are nothing without our women. We are nothing without our sisters and our sisterhood. And it took a while for me to get here. It took a very long time because of the relationships with my mom and my grandma. So yeah, I'm so grateful to have been here with you all and to share these nuggets. Yes, please leave any of your questions. Let me look at the chat now. Oh, you guys, leave any of your questions. I would love to answer anything that you may have. Ellie, I hoped I answered the work that you can do to release holding on to the trauma. A lot of movement, a lot of being in your body, and being in your body. Your body has the answers. It's stored in your body. So figure out what you can do, what helps you to release it from your body. Yes, EFT, EMDR therapy, breathwork was the most impactful. Ask any questions that you guys may have. I would love to answer them. Okay. Blessed and favored. You said, what is her name again? What do you ask again? What do you mean? Is it Miriam Hasnea, the one who has the spirit or the New Earth Mystery School? Oh, and this is a process. This is a process. Thank you, Grace. This is all a process. This is not something that came overnight. Okay, I was not always this way. Go back to my videos from when I reached Jamaica. I was a completely different person. I used to fill in my eyebrows. I used to put on a mask of who I was, because that's what the world teaches us to do. The world teaches us to put on masks, whether it's physical makeup, whether it's energetic and it's us bigging ourselves up and act in ways that are not authentic to who we are. I was not always comfortable even with the sound of my voice. I was not always comfortable speaking my truth. I was not always comfortable owning the type of relationship that I was in, that last one, because man, it was a lot. It whooped my behind. Like, it was a lot. And being on the other side of it, I can tell you 100% that we experience these things to get to the other side. To get now to a place where, let me say this, if I hadn't experienced some of the things that I've experienced in my life, I could not be here talking to you today. I could not be here talking to you about this today and activating any of you who are open to it. Who was talking about the spiritual ties? Ooh, what did I say? The spiritual ties. Like being on the same frequency. I can't remember. But I can just, here, I'll tell you a few of the people that I have followed over the years that have put up a mirror. I want to say this. People who are speaking in this way, there's people who I follow who are 10 times more raw and cutting with their information and how they deliver it. Queen Cup here on YouTube. Queen Cup. Her name is Destiny. She also is a Cancer sun. Queen Cup is one who gives it to you raw. So one thing about me is I like rawness. I like for you, I don't want the fairies and bubbles and da-da-da. That's not, I don't resonate with that kind of healing. I resonate with you telling me 100% where my shadow is, or you mirroring that so that I can see it within myself and I can work on it. When it's for me, when it's so light and airy-fairy, it makes me a little bit too comfortable. Like I want to feel fire. I want to transform and get through this quickly, as I said, or as efficiently as possible. So Queen Cup here on YouTube. Miriam Hasnea, you can join her school called the New Earth Mystery School. And I believe it's MiriamHasnea.com. MariamHasnaa. Miriam Hasnea. You can also follow her on like Instagram. Cindy Dale helped me with the energy work. Following her, I bought her book called Energetic Boundaries because all of this is energy. Steve Nobel. There's so many teachers. Yes, so many teachers. You guys leave your questions. Thank you for donating to the channel and doing the super chats. I always appreciate you all doing that. I love that. This work is so impactful. I have talked about this before, especially when I talk about womb healing. This work is so impactful. If I did not heal the wounds with my mother, and although she transitioned before I could do it, right? And that added to the anger and the resentment, because I'll tell you a little bit, but because I did not grow up in her care, my grandmother raised me. Because I didn't grow up in her care and I had that resentment and that anger towards her, and I couldn't understand why I was not living with my mom. Because of that, when she passed away, like my senior year of high school, I was living with her. And I wouldn't necessarily say we were working on our relationship. I was so young, but I was living with her and I was finally getting this sense of family. My niece, I was just on FaceTime with my niece. Hey, Kai, if you're watching. And we were talking, I was talking about this time, like I was with my niece, I was with my older sister, my younger sister, my brother, and my mom, and my boyfriend at the time. We were all in this apartment. And they were the best times, like my best memories are being with my mom, but it didn't last long. And I was finally getting this sense of family and connectedness. And then she passed away from cancer. And like I said, my world completely changed because I was like, I'm just getting what I wanted so much as a little girl. And it was ripped from me. And so I was so angry. I was so angry, walking around with all of this anger, not only towards cancer and Western medicine and the food and cigarettes and all of these things, but also towards my mom. Thinking like, how could you leave me so soon? How? I just am getting a taste of this. And so this was stored in my body. This made it so I had ovarian cysts and, you know, depression at times and anxiety and attracted, you know, situations that I didn't really need to be in. And I was carrying that grief. And it wasn't until I released it that I was actually able to heal my ovaries from cysts. And so I want to just offer that when I do my consultation work and my guidance work with you all, you wonderful, wonderful women, that is something that we touch on if you're open to it, because there's something so much deeper. There's something deeper that is having us attract certain situations or ailments in the body. So with that, if you all do not have any more questions, then I will wrap it up. Wow, we've been on here for a minute. I'm so proud of myself for being consistent on YouTube and sharing this energy, because there are areas where I never really carried shame from the things I've experienced in my life, because I'm here. Like if you're here and you've experienced something like foster care, adoption, not having certain parents in your life, being in toxic relationships, you're alive and you are breathing. That means you still have options. That means you still have a chance to completely reconcile with all of this. It's not like impossible. I am walking, living proof. It's not impossible. If you want to book a consultation with me, you can go to, how do I have it? I usually put the links in all of my videos. So because this is a live, I will have to go into the description box and edit it up after this. So come back in a little bit, but you can go to the community tab on my page and you'll see, I always put links in the different posts. You can go to my Instagram and you can look in my bio. My personal website, areyouprivy.com. I am not offering herbs anymore, so I just moved my products. I have them only available on my Etsy, which is just the super herb mask. But I also have the womb healing food guide, and this shows you the foods that you can eat to detox, to heal, what you need to take out of your routine in order to heal these womb diseases. And what I have done personally, and also the studies, right? The different cultures that I've been in, to see how other women around the world are eating, what herbs they're taking. I mean, of course I was going to be traveling the world. It just is like in the blueprint. My moon is Sagittarius and my north node and midheaven. So I have experienced so much living in Jamaica, traveling around India for 6 months, being in Southeast Asia. I've been to Japan, Thailand. This is my second time back in Thailand. I did learn some things when I was in Greece. I have learned a lot when I was in Mexico, when I was in Peru. So what's in the womb food healing guide is my own personal experience healing my womb ailments, and also what women are doing traditionally in different areas in the world that is working. That is working. People come out with so many quick fix, get rich quick schemes, heal quick schemes. And Jamaica is my home. Jamaica is my home. So I am retired. I don't think I'm not so much in that system. That's why I said I left the game. I'm not in that system of retirement. I don't resonate with that energy. I am retired. I am doing divine work now. So once I stopped running away from my gifts, once I stopped running away from my gifts and my medicine to give you all in the world, I was able to feel just a little bit more okay with money and needing to make money to live. It's still crazy. Like, that's what we chose to do as humans on this earth. Yes. I live in Jamaica. That's my home base. I am just traveling. So towards the end of being in Jamaica, I was feeling, and I was just on a call with a woman last night, and we were talking about being in the Caribbean, especially Jamaica. It's such a small island that it can be difficult to see outside of your own bubble. I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington. And that is not personal. I was born, I'm a proud, from the 206, I'm a proud, not American, I don't want to say that because of the label, whatever, but like, one thing that I've learned with this work is like the reason why so many of us people who are like woken up essentially, or knowing that there's something more to this human existence, right? The reason why so many of us are from America is because that is such a toxic and tumultuous environment. So you may travel the world and think, oh, all of these very spiritual places, most of the star seeds, the gifted children, the black sheeps, whatever, are coming straight out of America. So I don't have any shame about that at all, because we have endured so much there. And now I can travel the world and see why I experienced that, right? There are so many privileges we have in America, what I perceive as privileges. And so I don't demonize that at all. You're gonna quit your job if that's what you feel you need to do. I have not worked for anyone. Like, this is one of my greatest accomplishments in 8-9 years, maybe more. I took YouTube full-time way back when. If you're new here, I've been on YouTube for like 11 years. And that was my first business. I knew the structure and working jobs was not going to fulfill me. And so I haven't worked for anyone in forever. And that's like being an entrepreneur, relying on yourself solely for, your livelihood is spiritual. Like, this is the most spiritual thing I could have ever done in my life, was be in this world. You've been following from then? Yes, TK fam. Like the video if you're part of the TK fam. Oh my gosh. Those were the days. Those were the days. And I'm so grateful that I listened to my calling, which was to start my channel. When you just listen to the divine calling over your life, follow the breadcrumbs. Listen to the callings, the different things that you're getting in your life. Sonia, you were here for the hair video days. Okay, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Oh my gosh. I want to come out with some reels and some information about how to grow your hair and how to have the healthiest hair. I've touched on it a little bit, but the work that I have done now, y'all, my hair is thriving. Ugh. And she's long, healthy, strong. My scalp is happy, and my cells, my body, I am happy. And that's like the greatest medicine. The antidote to all of this is your joy and your happiness. And that comes from peace for me. And that came from transmuting these darker energies. But man, I look back at how I used to be and who I was, and I have so much grace and compassion. And I also see what doing your work does. Do your work. Do your work. All right, y'all. I know I said I was going to get off here eons ago. If you have any more questions, leave it. I'll stay on for about 10 or so minutes or less. It can be any questions, maybe about womb health, anything. But I know, yes, Grace, I locked my hair in Jamaica, And I had this idea that like me and my Rasta man, yes, Demetrius, I have, my business was called Are You Privy? And yes, I sold herbs, and I'm gonna come back with it. I've been traveling the world, so I'm not in Jamaica right now, so I cannot harvest and offer the herbs and the different blends to you. But yes, areyouprivy.com was my website, and yes, I was selling to all of y'all, thousands, hundreds of thousands, I want to say. You guys really benefited from that, and I appreciate your support. As I said, I've been working for myself for 8 to 9 years, so when I transitioned from just YouTube to physical products and herbs, the duck flower, the purple gold sea moss, you guys' support meant so much to me, because you didn't know that then, but at that time I was experiencing my darkest times. And so the way y'all showed up and showed out for me, I will never forget. And I love you all so much from the bottom of my heart for that. I do not have parents that I can just, hey, can I have $10? Hey, can you help with rent? I ain't got it. I don't have that. So it's been me. Demetrius, love. Yes. Stay tuned, Demetrius, because I have been getting the feeling that I need to offer herbs again, and that it is still necessary medicine. So stay tuned for restocks. I have some exciting things coming down the pipeline. What kind of detox? There are different detoxes in the body. So what kind? And I can recommend a couple of herbs for you. Yes. So yeah, Privy, that was such a pivotal point in my life. Oh, this is what I was saying. I had my locks, and I had this fantasy in my mind that me and my Rasta man were gonna be Rastas. It is my soul, actually, to live off the land and to work with nature, to be in nature. If I had it my way, I would stay way far up in the bush. And look at what Hannah is saying. Hey, Hannah. Hey, girl. That's my girl energetically. She said, I still use and love the chew stick powder. It's so handy and it deeply cleanses. Yes, I like putting it with fennel, on your fennel flavored toothpaste and dipping it. Yes, that's the best. That's one of the best ways to transition from using paste for your mouth. Hey, my girl, to using the chew stick. So yes. I had my locks, and the thing about locks is their antennas. Our hair, it's antennas, and it's transmuting, and it's like a transducer. So because those were my heaviest times and heaviest moments of shedding, I got my locks, and this energy was just stored. I could feel it. It was heavy. Not only that, the lady who started my locks, I did diamond parting. The lady who started my locks, when she would retwist, she just did not do it properly. So my ends were really thin, and the midpoint and the root were thicker, and it just did not look good at one point. That was also because I was doing so much deep spiritual work and so much with my business with Privy. The way you pronounce it, by the way, is Are You Privy? Thank you, Demetrius. The way you pronounce it is Are You Privy? It means to know, to be aware, and to have the knowledge. So I was doing so much. I was a one-woman show. I was living in St. Thomas at the time in Jamaica, and having to take taxis because I didn't have a car, all the way to next parishes and get sea moss, get my herbs and my supplies, or go all the way to Kingston and batch ship orders weekly and export and go to the Ministry of Agriculture and get things sanitized. Like, so much I was doing at the time, and I did not have any energy left to focus on my hair, so I locked it. And again, I have this idea that me and my Rasta we're gonna have our locks and whatever I was thinking at the time. I saw another question. The herbs that I recommend for detoxing your whole body, that is something like a fast. The first thing I will say is fast. Next, I will say look at the foods in your life that are causing the harm, because it don't make no sense to detox and retox. So get my womb healing food guide if you feel so inclined, and look at the list. I have a list for foods you should add, foods you should subtract, completely remove for womb disease, and foods that you can substitute so you're not feeling completely deprived. If you want to go one step further, you can do things like the Master Cleanse. Just look that up. You can do the Duck Detox, which I also offered with Privy, and that is like it's mainly the GI tract that it purges, but you also feel, your brain, just a lot of waste. You feel a lot of waste has been relieved from the body. Look into the liver. There are different detoxes you can do for different organs and organ systems. So a full body detox fast. Stop putting in the poisons into your body, and the poisonous people as well, or the energies that are not aligned. The duck is serious. I have the duck detox video when I experienced it when I was living in Portland, Jamaica, and I did it with Biko, Ottilia. I did it with 3 other people, and I put the video out onto my channel. So you can watch the duck detox. It is a purgative. They used it in Honduras for patients that are chronically ill. So it purges you. It makes you throw up. It makes you release from the other end. It is very, very, very difficult. Yeah, it is very intense. Someone said, what made me choose Jamaica? I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington. Since I was a little girl, I have loved Jamaica, and my grandmother had this beach towel that was the Jamaican flag that said, I love Jamaica. I may have heritage there, I may have ancestry there, but I do not know because I'm not that close with the elders in my family, and some of them have passed on. So I'm not sure if I have ancestry there. The way that I felt when I went, the way that I've been called since I was a young girl, I'm sure I've either lived past lives there or have a Caribbean in my blood. Especially with the way that I operate in this world, being like a fighter, a warrior. Like, okay, the things that I've transmuted and come through, please. Please, I know I got that in me, that fire. So when I was younger, I used to tell people that I was Jamaican and Chinese. And I actually took Chinese. That was the language that I took instead of like Spanish. I took Chinese. I took Mandarin Chinese in school. And I started taking a different language earlier than you typically would. I started taking it in middle school. So when I was young, I started to take Chinese. So I would tell people at school, I'm Jamaican and Chinese. They didn't believe me, but I've always had, yes, that fire is in our blood. I have always had that energy and that spirit. I used to, like, my first email address was jamaica@yahoo.com. So, yes, Demetrius. Thank you so much for being here. I just have always had a connection, and a part of it was probably because I knew I was going to experience my deepest transformation in Jamaica. And so I was just being called there. We get these callings. If you're on this path, then you know we get these callings to do certain things, to be around certain people, to go to certain places, and you can't really explain it logically and consciously. But I've gotten callings, like starting my YouTube channel. That was a calling I got before my mother passed away. Like right after graduating from high school in 2011. I got that calling and I did it. I didn't know what I was doing. We get these callings, we get these breadcrumbs, and that is how you can get closer to your purpose and your destiny here in this life. So I got that calling from very young to go to Jamaica. And I started to work I had a business relationship with an herbalist in Jamaica and their team. And I was invited to Jamaica on that basis, and then I stayed because I got off of the plane and I could breathe. My shoulders dropped, and I knew, I said, this is home. This is where I'm going to transform, and this is home. So Jamaica's my home. It must be in my blood. Yes. All right, y'all. If you don't have anything else, that's my time. Hannah said, how do you make peace with being single? I am trying. I really feel like I want a relationship, but it's been over a year and no one has been the right one just yet. I feel as though I'm always looking. Hey D, how do I make peace with being single? I love my solitude. As I said, a lot of my journey based on just what I was given in this life very early on. Thank you for being here, Demetrius. Have a beautiful day as well. A lot of my journey has been in solitude. So I've been very comfortable being here, but also my deepest point of contention in my life has been love, which is why love is like the greatest sleeper. It can put you into amnesia. So I used to yearn for like that relationship. So my relationships are longer term relationships. I don't do the dating, the quick fix. I cannot do it. My energy just doesn't work that way. Blessing, Sonia. I hope I'm saying it right. Thank you. The way that I find peace with it is knowing that, I don't know, I guess just finding the peace within myself. For me, it never was an issue for me. And I get, we all have our different things. Like I said, because I knew the things that I needed to heal in this life, I knew that I didn't want to keep experiencing it in a whole lot of different people. And so there's so much to learn in solitude. There's so much that we have to realize our distractions in this life. And that came from quietness, from stillness, which happens in solitude. When there's so much around you, so many people's energy around you, you don't even necessarily know where you end and other people begin. So once you get really clear and aware about who you are and what you came here to do, it just makes it easier, Hannah. It just makes it easier. I also did not want to be in toxic situations. So I was like, okay, being not in relationship. I also do not, like my vices, the things that are addicting for me are not sex and being in relationships with people. Those are not my things. A lot of people have that, but I don't even need to like fast from men. I don't feel inclined to be around a lot of men and that energy because I know I can see what's happening. I know what's happening with our energy. I know that men benefit 10 times more from being with specific women who carry and wield a certain power and energy than we benefit from them. So I know what I bring, and I'm not necessarily interested in having that energy be siphoned off from men, especially not sexually. And it might be the way that I was brought up. Blessings to my grandma, my Nana, because she really protected my spirit as a young girl. I was a tomboy and I was playing all of the sports. I was hanging with the guys. And so I wasn't necessarily focused on men. And I think from young, we're taught to focus on men and to center them, as people say. And that just never was my grandma just raised me. I didn't know what she was doing at the time, but now I'm like, wow, blessing, like she's my angel. She made sure that my spirit was protected and I was not focusing on that because there's so much more to this existence than just that. But I know that like that's the 10, that's the completing the cycle is being in healthy partnership and relationship and creating a family. So that all is in the pipeline for me. Yeah, I'm don't get me wrong. Although I have said all of that, I absolutely my like one goal in life based on what I experienced was to be a mother, is to be a mother. Believe it or not, I do not care about all of the accolades and the this and the that. Being a mother and doing things differently than what I experienced growing up is absolutely probably my greatest calling in this life, because of what I have transformed in my own DNA and what I'm able to give and leave as a legacy. So that is like at the top of my priority list, by the way. I just know that I don't want to give my energy and try that out with a whole bunch of people. I know that it will come because of all of the work that I've done when it is supposed to come. So it's just being at peace with that. And especially if you're young, just know that like, right? Like, just know that it's going to come when it is supposed to. One thing I always used to say, I was talking to my niece about this 2 days ago, and we were thinking, why did our parents have us if they were not ready? Like, why did they keep having children? Have you ever thought about that? Like when you look at certain things or situations or people? And one thing I knew for sure in being in the relationships I've been in is no matter what I've experienced and how close I've gotten to having children with people, which isn't that close, no matter what, if the person was not going to be the best father for my children, to give them a life with me that is going to be a fruitful environment, I was not going to have children for them, period. So that just, to me, narrowed down the pool of men that I was going to associate myself with and be intimate with. I can count on one hand, and it's not all the fingers. I can count on one hand how many men I have been romantic with and intimate with, because I know what's happening in that dynamic. It's much deeper than just sex or just fulfilling a need. It's much deeper than that. And it's almost like we're creating these energetic babies with people that we're in relationships with. Energetically, like, what are we birthing into this life? Destruction, toxicity? I'm good. I took my activations from the relationships that I need to, and I left and I leveled up. And this is how I did it. This video, all of these tips, this is exactly how I did it. So, wow, there's so many of y'all here. Blessings. Wow. All right. I think that's it. Y'all, I'm sweating. I am sweating. Yes, Hannah, I feel like you're a soul sister. When I start to do, as I said, there are so many things in the pipeline, things that I have just totally surrendered to my destiny and my calling and my power and what I'm supposed to offer here in this life. Retreats, the medicine work, who knows what's on the other side, but I've surrendered to it and I've opened up to the support and the love and the responsibility that comes from the weight of my destiny, as Ahime Ora says. So just get ready, y'all. Get ready. Get ready, because there's so much coming out, and I'm so excited to be with you all in person, not just virtually. And with that, I am complete. Love, love, love. Make sure you check out my other videos. Make sure you check out my womb food guide. If you are looking to support me further, you can book a consultation. I have ones for your health and wellness, and then I have just a regular Q&A session. So I made that one a little bit less expensive. It's just, you can ask me questions for 30 minutes if you'd like, regarding your health, well-being, whatever you feel called to. But things are shifting in my world. Things are changing drastically, and they have changed drastically. So just get ready. I'm glad you all caught it as well, and you were here. Look at me, I'm dehydrated. Love. All right, y'all. I don't even want to get off. The energy is just so beautiful. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, Grace. Bye, Hannah. Bye, Demetrius. Bye, Dee. Bye, blessed and favored. Okay, blessed and highly favored. All right, y'all. I'm sending you so much love. Stay uplifted. Bye. Make sure you catch the replay.